Hey friend, I see you over there. You have already taken your kiddos back to school, or you're about to, and you're wandering around the aisles of Target thinking, you know what, now that I have a little bit more time on my hands, now is the perfect time for a refresh. But before you do that, or before you go and buy all the pumpkins for your front porch, I want to invite you to my free fall workshop where I'm teaching you how to create a cozy home in 3 simple steps. And it doesn't require a trip to Hobby Lobby, and it doesn't require a porch full of mums. So if you would like to come and join me, come hang out on September 9th, 10th, and 11th, 1 hour each day. And if you can't make it because you have something called, I don't know, a job, that's okay. I will send a replay, but you have to register in order to get that. So come on over, register for this free training on how to create a home that feels cozy all year long, not just in the fall when we have pumpkin spice permeating the air and we have apple pie baking. You can register at figandfarm@home.my flodesk.com/cozy26, and that link will be in the show notes. Can't wait to see you there. If you missed last week's episode, I shared several examples of how I made costly decorating mistakes in my home. And luckily for me, those decorating mistakes didn't stay where they were. They didn't make me stop in my tracks and never decorate again. They actually made me dig deeper. They informed future processes and really informed how I teach decorating today, how I help women uncover their personal style and really walk forward with confidence to create spaces that they absolutely love and delight in. So if you missed that episode, go back and listen to episode 409. It's going to be a really nice context for what I'm going to be sharing today. Because the thing is, and I shared it last week, you're not bad at decorating if you make a mistake. We all make mistakes. Many of you know that I coach sports on the side. It feeds that part of me that loves being around young energy. I coach boys basketball, I coach girls basketball, and I coach volleyball. And here's what I say to my athletes, and I would say the same to you. I fully expect that you are going to make a mistake. I absolutely expect it. But what I expect even more is what you're going to do after the mistake. That's going to determine how we move forward. Yes, are they going to miss a lay-in? Absolutely. Are they going to maybe even shoot at the wrong basket? Sure, I hope not, but probably. Are they going to defend the wrong guy or maybe even foul out? Yes, it's all possible. And those mistakes are costly, especially when there's a score to be had and a game to be won. But those mistakes don't define the athlete. Just like your mistakes don't define you as a decorator. It's what we do afterwards that matters most. If we stay stuck with our head in the sand and never make a move forward, we never make another decision, or we stay paralyzed in our air quote inability to decorate, that's the real mistake, not the one that we did where we made a decision that wasn't quite right. So I want you to walk through in that mindset. I want you to remember that inner athlete. I want you to even picture your own kiddos and thinking about a mistake that they've made and knowing you didn't judge them based on their mistake. It didn't define their future. It was something that they needed to work through in order to get to the other side. And that's the same with decorating. I have a feeling that right now you're probably picturing a mistake that one of your kiddos has made that has not been the biggest deal. Maybe it was a missed note at a band concert, or a paper turned in too late to get the straight A's that would have gotten the scholarship. Maybe it was like the scenario I painted where, oops, shoot, we missed a critical lay-in and resulted in the championship game for our league. And as parents, we have a lot of grace for our kiddos, right? We know how to pick them up when they hang their heads down. We know how to console. We know how to paint the picture for them that it is not the end of the world and that it shouldn't define who they are, what they think about themselves, or even be a basis for what others think about them. But when we translate this to decorating and we put ourselves in that driver's seat, It is a lot harder if we are living with that mistake, if we're living with the frustration of, oh shoot, I've made multiple mistakes and I'm just really bad at it. It's really hard to climb ourselves out of the box. It's really hard for us to give ourselves the same grace we would have extended to our kiddos, to our athletes, to those who we love so much. And so I want to extend that grace for you today and paint a scenario that is likely the truth of what's actually happening. The mistake isn't the real issue. Yes, you may have made one. Maybe you've made two, maybe you've made three. But it's kind of this overwhelming baggage that's hanging out in the back of your mind that is helping you to be a filter for all the decisions moving forward. Here's what's likely, or most likely, happening. You have a room that is half decorated. Maybe you have multiple pieces of furniture that are hand-me-downs from grandma or your mom, and you're not quite in love with them. You walk into this space and you think, it has potential. I know it has potential. I don't quite know how to realize that potential, and I don't even quite know how to visualize the end result, but I kind of know what I like. And we know what we like because we can go to your Pinterest account, we can open up all the boards, and we can see all of the pins. And staring back at us are 400 pins. There's inspiration that is oozing out of your computer, all based on these ideas that you have for the potential that you see in the room that is half finished. And they're beautiful pictures. They're gorgeous pictures. Some of them might be a little bit bold and playful. Maybe they're even a little bit safe. Maybe they follow some trends that you're kind of hoping that you get to try. Gathering the inspiration for what you like isn't the problem. You know what you like, and it's staring you right back in the face. Knowing where to start and how to start are the things that are keeping you stuck. They're the real culprit, the real arch nemesis here. Because as you start making one step forward, you then remember. You remember the mistake. You remember the money that you spent that was not quite right. You remember the way that color looked after you painted it on the wall, but you loved it so much in the store. And if you get beyond that and get to starting to make decisions, your confidence can be a little bit shaken. And it's shaken not because you don't know what you like, but because there's a little bit of wobbliness there. There are past experiences that are informing how confident you feel moving forward. Will you make the right choice? Will that choice cost money? Will it look like that decision you made a few years ago that wasn't quite right? And when our confidence is misguided, it then kind of shakes us up just a little bit and makes us feel not as successful, not as intentional, and quite frankly, just not as good, air quoting, of course, as we think we should be at this stage of our lives. But here's the thing. Confidence is just misguided. Just like those athletes who, when they put in the reps, they are going to get the lay-in. And when there's pressure breathing down their back, they're still going to get the lay-in. And if they miss every once in a while, okay, great. They're going to know what to do to get the rebound to put it back up. That's the same for you. We just need to know where our confidence lies. And our confidence doesn't lie in a decision made once and then forget about it. Our confidence needs to lie in repetition. And our confidence needs to lie in the repeated actions that help us not only know where to start, but know how to move forward confidently so that we can take the first step and then the second and then the third. But because we've built this layer of confidence, we can now face all those aisles of colors, all those aisles of pom-poms, frills, tassels, or not. All those aisles of patterns or non-pattern or texture and non-texture, and we know how to make a decision that is right for us. And so today we're really talking about building our confidence. And the confidence comes by learning your aesthetic. It comes by understanding at the very core what it is you like and what it is you don't like. So I'm going to put you through a drill, just like I would my athletes, where we do lay-ins or we do defensive drills or we do passing drills or what have you. We're going to do a drill today. Are you ready? I want to start with design style. Now, design style is so different than your aesthetic. It's different because it is extremely generic. It is what the manufacturers use to help us make what they think are easier decisions, but it's actually confusing us even more. And the other thing that's kind of shaking our confidence are those design quizzes we see. The ones that are on the internet, on Pinterest, they pop up for us when we're browsing a site and they say, learn your design style. Well, I have news for you. Those don't tell us a single thing. They don't. They point back to these generic terms, these generic ideas that are built by manufacturers to make our decisions easier, but they actually don't do that. And so it's kind of this really unhelpful hamster wheel that we find ourselves stuck in with the ruse or the guise of thinking that it's going to make it easier. So if we can just say and acknowledge right now that actually they don't make it easier, they make it really a lot harder, I think we're going to set ourselves up for a little bit more success. So here's what's happening with the design styles. They are big umbrella terms that are really, really very generic. They help us put guardrails around what we think we should know, but it makes it tricky. So let me give you an example. The biggest categorical umbrella we could think about are things like traditional or modern, contemporary, maybe even Victorian, maybe even craftsman. Those are the biggest, most generic guardrails, design styles that we have. And we might have an idea of what fits into each of those categories, what fits into traditional. We might picture a Tiffany lamp in a traditional home. We might picture some really fun built-ins in a craftsman style. We might picture really sleek design in modern. And so we're off to the races. This is good. But then we start going into smaller categories, the ones that are supposed to really define what we like, who we think that we are design-wise, and it's supposed to make it easier. And this is where it gets actually all kinds of convoluted, where it gets all kinds of tricky. And some of those design terms are things like farmhouse, modern farmhouse, a traditional farmhouse, a cottagecore, southern, nautical, industrial, cottage. What else? I'm sure you can think of some. I'm sure you're even thinking of some. Oh, California casual, that's a fun one. All of these are beautiful. And we might look at a picture and say, oh, okay, great. That's what they're calling it. So I can see that, yes, that's what that is. Or so I think. But now we remove the picture. And now we see the aisle of Target. And now we stand in front of it and we think, okay, I think I am California casual. And I'm at Target and I'm picking the pillow, or I'm at Sherwin-Williams and I'm picking the color, and then all of a sudden, oh shoot, what in the heck? It's like going to, studying for a test, and you've crammed all this information into your head and you get to the test and you are now blank. And you think, I can't even remember how to spell the word if. What in the world? Who invented the word if or of? I think it's of that I always think. That is the weirdest word. And I have my master's in reading and literacy. That is the funny thing about it, of. O-F. That's not quite right. But I digress. You go to this test and you're now clamoring at all of this pieces of information that you're trying to capture based on this California casual that you think that you know that you are, based on the quiz or the picture that you looked at, and now you're blank. You're stuck. And then, oh shoot, what happened? Because the picture that we pinned on Pinterest, the picture that we found in the magazine, maybe even the show that we watched, those all look what I'm thinking is California casual, but then I get to the store and oh shoot, I'm stuck. I'm back at square one. My confidence is even more shaken because I was put to the test and now I might have not quite passed it. And now what? Well, those terms that are trying to make it easy for us, that sometimes can be easier to identify with a picture, are really nebulous. They're not quite helpful. Because when you're out in the wild, Or when you're trying to explain what you think California casual is, and then your friend Sarah is trying to explain what she thinks California casual is, and then here comes Rebecca and she's saying the same thing, and Rhonda down the street, and Melody across the town, and they're all coming together and they're trying to tell you what California casual is. They're bringing their own perception, their own background knowledge, their own perception, their own experience with that, and they're informing it. And now it's all kinds of muddled, and it makes it really more confusing, which then leads to your confidence being shaken. You see how this is a really kind of not dangerous cycle, but not helpful cycle. It is definitely not a helpful cycle, and we need to get out of that. And so I want to say, great, go ahead and think about those terms. You can use those terms later, but right now I want you to think about what you like. It's like watching that movie from years ago. Do you remember The Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts? And I don't remember the guy, but she was the runaway bride. She was engaged several times, and each time she was engaged, she realized that she kind of lost who she was, and she would gravitate to what that guy liked. And for the movie, of course, it informed itself in what she liked for breakfast and how she liked her eggs. And one was scrambled, one was over easy, one was hard boiled, all the different eggs. But it wasn't until she found herself that she realized that actually she didn't really like eggs at all, or she liked a certain type that she never had. This is the same thing with your design style. We want to know what you like, what informs you, what you gravitate to over and over again when you go to the store, when you're looking online, when you're going to a friend's house, when you're appreciating it from a distance, when you're holding it in your hand, whenever. But we need to take a step back in order to find ourselves a little bit. And when we do that, that's when our confidence starts growing. And that's when we can then go to the store and say, oh my gosh, I love this pillow. And I don't really care if it's called boho or California casual or mid-century modern or traditional. I don't care what it's called. It is so incredibly me. It's got to come home because it meets my personal aesthetic and it's going to look great in my house. That's how that works. So how do we do it? We start paying attention. We start slowing down. We start being mindful of the things that we like and why we like them. And it's really that right there. Paying attention to the things that we like and why we like them. And we've got to be super specific. Forget the pleasantries. Forget the niceties. Forget the generic, I like it because it's pretty. That does not work. I like it because it looks beautiful. Great. Yes, it does look beautiful, but tell me why. Go deeper. Tell me more. Peel back the layer of the onion. Why do you like it? What is it that you see? Every year I do that workshop where I'm teaching with a visual example of how you can understand your aesthetic. And I'm teaching another workshop coming up. And actually this workshop isn't diving into your aesthetic. It's diving into what happens afterwards. And I want you to be there. September 9th, 10th, and 11th, 1 hour each day, and I'm teaching you how you can create a cozy, cohesive home. And of course, you have to do that after you know your aesthetic. But don't worry, I won't skip ahead too much. You can register for that by going to figandfarmathome.myflodesk, FLODESK.com/cozy26. That link will be in the show notes. But each year I teach about your understanding your design aesthetic. And the goal is to take a picture, to take your 1 or 2 or 3 of your Pinterest pins. You remember you have plenty. To take some of those and to transfer yourself, if you can, as much as you can, into that space. Imagine yourself sitting in that space, walking around that space, using that space in that picture, and identifying all the details that you see. But they need to be the details that you really like. The fine details. The details like the way that the legs are turned or tapered. The way that the wood tones come through. Are they cool or are they warm? The way that there is brad nailhead trim or tufting. The way that there's pom-poms or tassels or maybe not. The way that there's thin stripes rather than big stripes. The way that there's floral pattern, but really big floral pattern rather than little floral pattern. The way that there's dark, but not just any dark. It's not a really deeply saturated, it's actually really moody and muddled. You're paying attention to all the fine minutia details. And the things that you gravitate to repeatedly are part of your aesthetic. That's it. That's it. So at the end, you will know maybe the 10, the 20, the 30 things that you gravitate to over and over and over again. And when you know those, your confidence starts soaring and you start using that aesthetic as a filter for decision making. And instead of using the filter of, oh shoot, I've made a mistake, I can't possibly make another decision because I'm not good at this, it's not going to work out quite right, I'm just going to stay stuck. You use the right filter. You've put the right filter in place to create the home that feels cozy, that feels calm, that feels pleasant to be in and pleasant to invite your friends over to. You've got to have the right filter. And right now, the filter that is here is the one that's been keeping you stuck for a while. And it's really, truly laced in lack of confidence based on decisions that were too hard to make, mistakes that were made before, generic advice that you've received from someone else. Who knows? It's the wrong filter. When you have the right filter in place, you can start moving forward confidently. And once you understand that, everything else gets easier. Not because you have more information. We do not need more information. We do not need more inspiration. I'm looking at you over there with your 400 pins on your Pinterest board. You probably do not need more information. You need to learn how to use that information to inform your confidence so that you can inform better and more confident decision making. Because you finally have that filter. That is what I teach. That is the confidence I bring to these women I'm helping. Applying the filter that is perfect for you, not for the person sitting next to you, not for the friend across the street, not for your mom who birthed you. None of those guys. It's for you. All right, you've got the filter. We're moving past the mistake. What's going to happen next? I want to show you next week what is possible when you apply the filter and you put it into place. I want to show you what's possible from the before to the after, how that feels, how that transfer feels. When we move beyond the generic and we move into the specific of designing for you, creating spaces that delight you, that tell your family's story. And I'm going to be sharing that next week, so I want you to come back next week. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, do that so you don't miss another episode. And again, I want you to come and learn 3 steps to creating a cozy space that you can have not just in the fall, but all year round. Come to that workshop. And if you can't make it live, I will send replays to everyone who registers. Again, those dates are September 9th, 10th, 11th, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Come hang out with me. You can register at figandfarm@home.myflowdesk.com/cozy with a Z 26. There's still more room at the table. And I will see you there. Until next time, I'll see you soon.